today's Travel Day talk show. Today we will be talking about things such as cactuses, boondocking, and weather changes.
In that order?
Sure.
Okay, I don't remember what you said first.
I don't either. I think it was cactuses.
Yeah.
Except for they're not cactuses.
They're not cactuses. So we are currently driving. We just got off of the extraterrestrial highway in Nevada, and it was kind of an interesting road, very bumpy.
This one's not much better. This
one's not great either. So it's been kind of a physically taxing day in terms of driving, and we still have a ways to go yet. But on the extraterrestrial highway, we're driving along, and all of a sudden we see these things popping up. And they start out kind of short, and then they get taller and taller and taller. They're all the same species. And I said, are those a cactus? And so everybody looked, and we decided...
palm tree!
Palm tree. But then at the same time, they didn't really look exactly like a palm tree.
They kind of look like pine trees, too.
Yeah. So, we don't know what it was, but it was really neat.
Okay, next up, I think I said boondocking, but I'm going with weather changes.
Okay.
So currently it is 69 degrees outside, but not too long ago it was like 58 degrees, and the temperature just keeps changing so fast. It's really interesting, and it changed again, huh? And it's not like you would think it would change. Like when we're up higher, it tends to be warmer actually, which is kind of backwards from what it usually would be. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's backwards day, because after all, you are in the truck with me.
I am in truck with the boys and the Riv, and Ethan is driving Mom and Owen and the puppies in Maurice. So it is a different day.
Different day.
The big exciting thing we did yesterday was we tried boondocking for the very first time. So that was very new and very exciting for us.
And Belle and I have a little bit of a disagreement here, but that's okay. I said it should really have been boondocking light, because we used our generator throughout the night to make sure that
we didn't freeze to death.
We didn't freeze to death, yeah.
I say no, it was fully boondocking. I'm not doing anything without the generator.
So, I don't know. I think boondocking typically means no water hookup, no sewer hookup, and no electrical hookup.
We didn't have an electrical hookup.
So I guess we did. Well, we did. We had a generator. That was our electrical hookup. But anyway, we brought our own electrical. So we stopped yesterday when we left Sparks. We had a general idea of where we wanted to get to. But the problem was that when Amanda would call around or email around for reservations, nobody would get back to her. So we really didn't have anywhere specific that we were trying to get to from an RV perspective. So we had talked a little bit about boondocking here and there, and we decided we were going to get fuel in Topuna. Tonopah. Okay. At a Shell station, and right next to the diesel pump was a water spigot, and we knew from there's an app called iOverlander that I have on my phone. We knew that people had gotten water there before as potable water, so we talked about it a little bit and said, okay, let's fill up with some water and see what we can find. So we put about 50 gallons of water in our freshwater tank and continued on down the highway.
Yep. And then we found a spot, a Federal Bureau of Land Management place that is free camping. You can stay there for free, and you can be there for free. And so we stayed it was actually part of a rest area, part of it was. And then there was kind of more of an open area where we just set up camp for the night, and yeah. We
were actually looking at a different spot on BLM land, but when we got there, the road, they have cattle guards, and it looked like the cattle guard in that area was really, really narrow. So we just really didn't feel like we were going to be able to get...
there was no way even truck would have fit by himself, let alone with the Riv attached to it, so...
So
would
really,
not have worked.
That really limited our opportunities to get off the highway greatly. So the rest area, we actually did pull over in one other spot.
Yep, we pulled over in one little pull out on the side of the road, and it was a fairly good sized pull out, and we thought about staying there. We actually were pretty confident we were gonna stay there, and then we realized our generator might not run properly there because of the elevation. We were too high up in elevation, and we didn't have the one thing we needed, because we weren't, I mean, this was kind of a spontaneous thing. We talked about it before we left, but we hadn't officially decided that we were gonna go boondocking, so we hadn't really thought about that being a possibility, that our generator maybe would need something.
And in a rig this big, you have to have electricity, because everything we have, our leveling system, you know, the water pump, I mean, all that stuff needs electricity. And we have a residential fridge, and that's really the big issue, because most of that stuff will run on 12-volt systems, but it drains the battery quickly when you do. But the residential fridge really drains the battery when you're running it. So we knew that we were going to need to run the generator. The generator booklet says that you need a special carburetor kit when you go above 5,000 feet. And we were actually at 5,800 feet last night.
Where I don't know.
I think we were about 5,800 feet last night. So we were actually above what the recommendation was. I've had some interesting issues with this generator. So I wasn't really 100% sure what to expect, but we almost emptied the jerry can. We had probably, I don't know, a gallon and a half left into the tank, and it started right up. So I was like, okay, cool. And then the question was, how long will it last? Belle, how long did it last?
How long did it last?
Yeah, how long will it last? Yeah.
It's the average time it will last is about 11 hours, and ours lasted about 10 and a half to 11 hours. So
yeah,
I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't on a full tank either. We didn't fill up quite all the way. So it did last, and I was thinking about, oh man, I should probably get up before it goes dry on gas, and I didn't. So when it did quit, I got up right away, put what gasoline we had left into the tank, and it would not start. Would not start.
5:30 in the morning.
Yep, 5:30 in the morning. Still dark out. Amanda's out there with me with flashlight. We're trying to see. Anyway, long story short, went to bed for about an hour and a half. Got up at 7. Still wouldn't start on gasoline. And we have a dual fuel generator, so we can run it on gasoline or we can run it on propane. In my experience before, the propane had worked pretty seamlessly. So we had just filled up with propane and sparks, all 5 of our tanks that we carry, and I grabbed one of the full ones and turned it on, and it turned over and it didn't start. And then I realized I forgot to turn the propane on. Rookie mistake. So I turned the propane on, and it took 2 more starts, and then it fired right up. And so then we had electricity again at 120 volts. So.
That was a necessity. You know, once you get to 7 o'clock, you might be thinking, well, why'd you even start it up anyways? You're going to be moving soon. Well, a big part of that was the fridge and the furnace and the water pump was draining the RV battery. It got down to a 1/3 charge on our RV battery, so we really needed that to charge back up. And by the time I woke up, I don't know, hour and a half later, I checked the battery and it was full. So that's why we had to hook it back up, so the battery could recharge, and also so that we could at least put our Starlink in stow mode. No, our Starlink wasn't out then.
Nope, I took it
down last night. Yeah, that was a different issue we had a little later. We turned the generator off before we put Starlink in stow mode, not thinking anything of it, and then like, oh yeah, you gotta have electricity to do that. So we had to start back up and put it down, but it worked out okay. It was fine.
And we ended up not using a whole lot of water, and part of that's probably just because we got there late last night.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we were setting up in the dark.
We didn't take a shower or anything, so that helped. When I got up this morning, I checked before I did the dishes, and it was at 2/3 of a tank. By the time I was finished doing dishes, it was at 1/3. We still had plenty of water to fill up water bottles for the day and extra water jugs for the day. And I still think when you emptied it, I still think it was at about 1/3 of a tank. So I think we did good for first trial run, and if we choose to do that in the future, I'm sure we'll learn more and
And I think we will. I think the biggest difference that I see in terms of that is you do have to be aware of your electricity usage, and you have to be aware of your water usage. Now, again, we didn't do much with water this time around, but certainly if we were to boondock again, we
for a longer period of
time. But the problem is, you're looking and you go, oh, boondocking's free. But really, we went through probably 5.5 gallons of gas.
Yeah, and then a third of a tank of propane.
A third of a tank of propane. So really, we probably in the end spent probably close to $30 to $35.
Which is still sometimes less expensive than booking a site at an RV park, but it's just kind of what you feel you want to do and what you want to be around too, and what you need. So.
And we weren't going to go down to Yuma. Maybe we will now. There's a place down there that our friends from the Blue Nose Bus got their solar system set up from.
Yeah,
and
so if we have solar power, we could.
Yeah, we had solar power. We wouldn't have to worry about it too much. But the residential fridge is really, when you're on 12 volt and it needs to be running on 120, it chews up that 12 volt very quickly. We had about a third of a battery left, and that was like 2 hours.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But yeah, all in all, I think it went pretty good, and I think we know a little bit more what to expect next time we want to choose to boondock. And so yeah, I think we'll probably be doing that in the future. Emmett, you want to say anything?
Boondocking was fun.
Emmett liked it. I think we all enjoyed it.
It was really, I mean, this is where we actually get to see the stars best.
Yeah.
Of any place that we've been, because everywhere else we've been, you've got cities with, with lights and things like that, and it really wasn't.
Or sometimes even just the campgrounds have lights, and that even that kind of not as many stars. But yeah, it was cool, and yeah.
So we'll probably do it again.
Have a nice day. See you all later.
Peace.